Banditos, we are back with the First Descendant, and yep, another hotfix 1.17 has hit us. It's actually coming with a little bit of a surprise. We are getting a change to Outposts for the better or worse. You decide. Let's do this.
Tux makes it exciting!
This one's really interesting, not just because of the change, but what they reveal in the director's comments for what we are to expect going forward. Right at the top, it says here that they reduced the cooldown for Outposts from 60 seconds to 30 seconds. Yeah, that's huge. So I went out and tested the Outposts already. It's really fast. I mean, it's just like back-to-back Outpost clears. The director commented with this patch note, "We'd like to share the dev team's reasoning behind reducing the Outpost cooldown to 30 seconds, along with our future plans for further improvements. Stage 1, that's where we're at now, the Outpost 30-second reduction. Based on feedback, we've reduced the Outpost cooldown to 30 seconds. Completely removing the delay could make Outpost farming disproportionately more efficient than infiltration operations, potentially leading to less dynamic Outpost farming. With this change, the Outpost cooldown is set to 30 seconds, allowing you to enjoy smooth gameplay while maintaining efficiency similar to that of Infiltrations. That speed is a lot more efficient, no doubt. And then there's stage 2. So Infiltration, Fragment, Fusion, Reactor, Farming route added. I think when they mean route, they're trying to explain here, these are options. You're going to be able to maybe have more than one option for a single amorphous pattern. So let's see what it says. We recognize that the main problem with Outposts is forcing inconvenient reward acquisition and lengthy 1-minute cooldowns leading to tedious gameplay. To address this, we plan to enable you to farm amorphous materials not only in Outposts, but also during infiltration operations. This update will allow you to choose between the Outpost, Fragment, Fusion Reactor, or Infiltration, Fragment, Fusion Reactor farming paths, enabling farming without relying on Sharen. Ooh. We aim to implement this change early in Season 2 and will provide details as soon as the schedule is finalized. It's a little confusing there. As I interpret this, there's going to be 2 paths you can choose for a pattern. One is you can do the Outpost or the Infiltration, Fragment, Fusion Reactor path. Now, what's not clear is they're saying this enables farming without relying on Sharen. What they didn't say is that it's no longer in the game. So what I think that might be happening, if you choose the Infiltration path, you don't have to use Sharen. But if you choose the Outpost path, then you do have to use Sharen. Not on all patterns, but on some of them. We got more to talk about, but let's read the stage 3. So Outpost Rework. Plans to rework Outposts are still under discussion. Following the addition of the new farming route, Infiltration Operation, Fragment, Fusion Reactor, we want to keep our options open for a variety of improvements. Our goal is to completely overhaul the role of gameplay of Outposts, aiming to improve them so they become more engaging content with continuous battles. Overhaul? Yes. Do not eliminate these because we need more content, not less. Engaging? Obviously, because right now they're more of just a tedious task in our way. Continuous battles? Well, although I'm a big fan of continuous fighting, it could get a little bit monotonous because we already have some of that in the game and we will need more too in other areas, but perhaps we could look at special units or an unusual mixture of units here to make the battle more engaging and maybe even a little bit more difficult. That would be cool to see in the open world like in Outposts, but I don't want to eliminate Sharen from the mix. We expect this change to lead to an increase in participation in infiltration operations. Do we need that though? Additionally, to resolve the issues of long matchmaking times in infiltration operations, we have made plans to introduce a random matchmaking feature. With this feature, you will be able to earn rewards for completing the selected infiltration operation while the dungeon itself will be randomly matched. The goal is to reduce matchmaking times and provide a pleasant multiplayer experience. We are preparing to implement the random matchmaking system on Season 2 update. So the goal of looking to improve matchmaking and infiltrations is an interesting goal on the board right now. I'd go as far as saying that 400% infiltrations specifically are where it's at in the game right now. I feel like this content is tuned to where the rest of the game should be when it comes to the quantity of action, rewards, and difficulty level. It feels appropriate for how powerful our descendants are. But still, with that being the case, they have on the board that infiltration matchmaking is still low. Now, I think that's a two-pronged problem. The first problem is sort of the more obvious one, which is that everybody is matchmaking for the infiltrations of the day, or the invaded zones where the 400% infiltrations are. And nobody wants to do the other ones unless they have to. So the population that's trying to matchmake for those other ones is at an all-time minimum. I don't want to go do those. They're boring. I don't need anything from the level 400 infiltrations, but I'm still playing them because that's where the action is. So that's what attracts me. And I think that should be something that the game needs to learn, is that the rewards are one thing that should drive player engagement, but in the end, it's the gameplay and the action that comes with it. I don't really play for the rewards. I play for the action. That's the reward I'm looking for, the fun part. I see a lot of focus here on, amorphous patterns this and making farming easier and more efficient here and there, which is great. But if the gameplay loop was just better, then the players wouldn't really mind the grind as much. Now, we all want the grind to be better, so I'm not saying like don't improve the grind, but I'm saying like if Outposts, for example, if there was more of a fight instead of this 5-second obliterate everything in a blink of an eye kind of action, then it wouldn't feel so boring. But look at this gameplay footage I'm gonna put up on the screen. It's only a couple of minutes of footage of me doing back-to-back outpost clears here in Echo Swamp. And I'm doing it solo and with Freyna on hard mode. You let me know, does this look engaging to you? So it's 30 seconds of waiting, which is really fast. It doesn't really need to be faster. If it goes any faster, you might as well just remove the clock. But the fight is still going between 5 and 7 seconds. So the clock is one thing, but it's the fight that's not engaging. And even then, it's the rewards. And so the reason why I'm actually here is because I need the biogels. So all I'm looking to do is kill the boss. But more important than farming the materials, to be honest with you, although I really need those, I'm just looking for a good fight, man. I'm looking for fun. They understand this, so the 30-second clock is just part of a greater fix. What I really hope for out of the Outpost is that the engagement, the fight is so good that I'm willing to go there just to engage with it, even if I wasn't looking for a pattern. And that's the kind of content that I'm looking for out of this game. And that's what the 400% infiltrations are bringing. So I don't need any patterns anymore. And I'm still choosing to do 400% infiltrations because they're fun. And that is the key to all of this. The 100 and 250% infiltrations are just not exciting enough. It's the 400% that's delivering. This is kind of a weird solution, but everything might as well be lifted to the 400%, and we might as well stop calling it the 400% infiltration and just start calling them all infiltrations, and they all be at that level. What do you guys think about that? And I don't think that would be too difficult for some players, because 400% infiltrations in group are really easy, basically until you get to the bosses. And then it gets a little bit harder, but it's achievable. Now, here is a real problem, and also why I suspect they're having matchmaking issues with infiltrations. It's the Freyna and the bunny problem, and nobody likes to talk about this. If they're not careful with how they craft these descendants and the content to go along with it, then this is going to become a solo game. I'm actually choosing to do 400% infiltrations solo because I'm at the point where all my descendants are at a good place, strong enough to hold their own, and I don't need somebody else doing the work for me. Freyna or a bunny, but let's just focus on Freyna right now. She's obliterating everything in a 400% infiltration. The big problem is when I matchmake in a public lobby, I show up and there's 3 other Freynas there, and I'm the only one that's not a Freyna. Again, jogging simulator, let's go. You could just say, oh, if you can't beat them, join them. There's still not enough action on the table. I mean, just put out one shot. Maybe you get some action, maybe you don't. There is no action. It's all on autopilot. And that's not fun for me. Maybe it's fun for others, but I imagine I'm not alone here. So the people that aren't willing to take on 400% infiltrations solo are having a hard time finding content to engage with. So where do you go? And we don't have that answer in the game right now. And that's contributing to why they're having matchmaking issues, because people like me are just deciding not to matchmake for 400% infiltrations. On top of that, I don't want to do any of the other ones that aren't 400% infiltrations because they're too easy. And this problem leaks over to the outposts, because when you go to an outpost on a public map and there's a Freyna standing in the middle of the room obliterating everything, you're not getting in on any of the action. action. If you're looking to AFK farm, then awesome. But if you're showing up just for some action, well, you're not going to find it. And if you're looking to farm and get some action at the same time, well, then you're also going to be disappointed. So the outposts need to be carefully tuned to open up some engagement for those people that don't want to AFK this entire game. If that's not addressed, then this is going to start moving into a solo PvE game. But because the game has some really cool synergies that can happen between Descendants, that would be a huge shame. But we have to go back to the Sharen conversation. Does this make Sharen irrelevant? Now, the rumor is, or people's best guess, is that the next ultimate Descendant is going to be Sharen next season in Seasons 2.0. I can't say if that's true or not, but if that is, then there's not so much to worry about because they might be making her application more global here. And so although her specialty is hacking those outposts, it is a boring specialty to have, I gotta say. And when I have to do an outpost for a material or something, and I arrive at one in a public lobby and I see somebody doing a Sharen there, I'm kind of bummed out because that means I have to stand around waiting for her to do her hack, and all I need is to get maybe some biogel drops from the boss. I don't even need materials. So that Sharen strategy, although it was fun for a minute, it kind of becomes a hindrance for not just people looking for the pattern, but for other people in the lobby. It slows down something that's already slow even more. But yeah, Sharen probably needs an update. What do you guys think? She needs a more global application. What kind of update do you guys think Sharen needs? They also reduced the hero landing character animation, which is getting a little bit of mixed feelings from the community. I like the animation, but I'm glad they're getting rid of it. I would like more smooth transitions. What do you guys think? So here's a bunch of just really minor changes here, but for the ultimate module sweeping squad, for both general rounds and special rounds, when defeating an enemy has been adjusted so that instead of being reset on the stacks, they're only resetting the duration. And then the Albion Cavalry, mostly they just fixed the name here and then some display issues. And then on the final masterpiece, a little bit of the same, but they also gave you the ability to activate on environmental objects and intercepts. In the Puddle of Indulgence, there were some enemies that were immobilized, and so they fixed that. And everything else just seems to be some minor visual corrections. So it was a little big patch 117 because it sets the pace for what we're going to see in Seasons 2, which is only a month away. Let me know what you guys think about this patch and all of these changes. Good, bad, ugly? Thank you for hanging out with me. My name is Tuxedo Bandido. That's Tito Bandido.
One and only.
And this was another episode of The First Descendant. If you found this video helpful, subscribe, like, and turn on notifications to ensure you don't miss out on the fantastic experiences waiting for you in The First Descendant. And if you like videos like this, check out the one I have recommended for you right here. If you have anything you want to see covered, be sure to let me know in the comments below. And thank you to all the channel members and donors who make everything possible. Tux Nation wouldn't be without you.
When you buy or download anything for The First Descendant, be sure to use Tux's creator code to support the channel. Easy peasy.
Follow me.